Hey guys, so it's really important to me that I wanted to have some one-on-one time with a few aspiring singers and people that love music too and just can't do anything but eat, sleep, and breathe music, and who have the ultimate love and appreciation for it that I do and are constantly, as am I, on the journey and path of learning more about yourself and how to better your skill and all of that. I'm joined today by my longtime friend and musical director, Rob Lewis. He's a great guy with a great ear, and he can play piano, so he's here today, and let's have some fun. So I guess my question for you, starting out, I don't know who wants to go first, you know, what would be some of the things you wonder as a vocalist, and things you might want to work on or struggle with, and I am yours for the asking.
Hey, Christina. My name is Derek.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question concerning my voice, and I guess my genre is like rock, like hard rock and all its subtopics and stuff. And I'm trying to get more, I guess, contemporary, and I'm trying to like have more control with like softer tones, having more presence. Because when I or falsetto, having more presence. Because when I sing it, it's just like.
I get it.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, like, what are some like, you know, what do you?
You know, I actually happen to have, you can even ask Rob here, I have some problem and difficulty, you know, because I'm a powerhouse singer. I can belt pretty well. That's a comfort zone of mine. And some singers have a very easy ability to, there's this sort of middle ground in certain singers' voices that they can I call it almost like the yawn effect. It's almost that place in your voice when you yawn, and it's like, it's in between a belt and a falsetto, but I'm very black and white. I'm either like, hey, or I'm like, hey, you know, it's like, it's very soft. And so one of the things that I do whenever I know that I'm trying to do something sort of with more strength, that's a falsetto, it really all is about pushing your breath. That's where breath really, really comes in. I don't know what stage you're in, but I know you know, your animal is probably live performance, and you know, rock is loud and it's ambitious and it's bold and it's aggressive and it probably excites you in that way, and that's why it's a passion place for you to live. But yeah, it's hard to be, especially in your genre, and try to push forth a vocal in a powerful yet subtle way. But it's really about breath. You just have to push that breath out.
All right, hit it, Rob. Just gonna let it go around a little bit. Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'll be the one that you want me to. Anywhere I would have followed you. Say something, I'm giving up on you.
All right, cool, I hear it. I like that you kind of revamped it to make it your own a little, put your signature touch on it. It's a difficult place because whenever you're you know, it's a double focus. So not only are you trying to project power while singing soft, you know, it's hard to also make sure that your pitch is in tune, that you have the right tonality to your voice and all of that. It shouldn't always be high, you know, push volume anyway. I understand what you're trying to ask about, like, say something. And if I'm trying to push it, and it does get a little bit more through my nose a little when I'm say something, but it's important that you still hold it in your throat a little. But whenever you are trying to sing softer, you do get more vulnerable, and it does start to go a little bit more into your throat. But just never forget to open it up. It's almost like, I could reference, burping. If you kind of like, your throat opens, does it not?
Everything kind of
Right? It kind of, but it's your throat. There's like, it does that like frog almost. It's like that sensation of like a bubble. If I wanted to fully sing in my face, I don't like face singing where you're like, say something, I'm giving up on you. Like that could be like, that's that's fully in my nose. But if I sing that again and I concentrate more on allowing it to open in my throat, it's say something, I'm giving up on you. And it's still like, it's the same note, it's a different tone, right? It's a different kind of placement. It's opening my throat more, but it's a little bit more projected. Because when you're singing through your nose, you lose a little bit of the volume, right?
Yeah.
It gets a little linear and it condenses your sound. But if you always remember to open your throat and try to come from more of like your core down in there, you're giving yourself a grounded foundation to then elevate from, because if you start up here, there's no room to go but up here, you know what I mean? But if you start from this grounded, centered, place, where I'm even talking differently, rather than talking like this and up in my head voice, I'm talking from here and I'm using my breath and I'm, trying to come from a more boisterous place. That's like the difference. Whoa. If you want to even try that, like just talk, just be like, so this is my favorite song, right? So just say that.
This is my favorite song.
Right, okay, so that's even like how, like, even right now, without thinking, like I'm talking to you like a little bit more up here. But if you think about it from a more concentrated place, now try, this is my favorite song, right?
This is my favorite song.
Okay, well, this, it's deeper, it's from a more committed, centered place, and that's where you want to kind of remember to sing from, And, and it takes practice to also make sure that, this is my favorite song. So in saying, this is my favorite song. Let's take it out completely out of the element of the words, but from that to positioning myself and my breath. This is my favorite song. Like I'm projecting, right? From a little bit more of the throat and from here. Everything is rooted from ground up. And so it's important to start, like a tree doesn't just blossom from the branches. The tree, you get the roots, you get a firm root in there, and then what happens when you start, it gets bigger and bigger and it starts to, just overflow out the top with just, this beauty that it blossoms into because it has that core foundation. Yeah. You cut it off, there's nothing up top. You know what I mean? So if you visualize it kind of like that, it's a helpful sort of photo in your mind to think of when you're rooting from in there to find that centered place to sing from, So if you want to try it one more time with the, so from saying, say something, I'm giving up on you, just because it's a quiet thing, and doesn't mean that it has to be a little meek, Okay. Maybe open it up and try one with just thinking of your root and opening your throat and trying to come from a more rooted place.
Okay.
You want to try it?
Sure. From the top of the tune?
Sure. And it takes a little more,
Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'll be the one if you want me to.
It seems more steady, yeah? Even your pitch is improving there.
Anywhere I would have followed you. Say something, I'm giving up on you.
And I noticed, I did see a clip of you singing in preparation, before coming here, I saw a clip of each of you. But I did notice that you have the ability to come from a deeper place within you. You go to this place where it's like, and I don't want, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. But and when you did that, I noticed your voice did that bubble thing, right? It got a little deeper. You had to grind it from somewhere.
Yeah.
So try and be conscious of just practicing on your own, exploring what that area feels like more of. Because your texture up here, and it's a little bit more through your nose, on the high notes. It's a cool texture. I love multifaceted voices that have different things to explore within them. But I know that you also have the potential, I think, to explore a little bit more with your rooted, the deeper part of your voice, the one that comes from here. Because I know you're the kind of singer that just lives. You just live, and you just you throw it all away, and you go out there, and you're like, you let it go, and I love that. I love the raw sensibility of that, and then just the feeling of like, I don't even care what's coming out of my mouth because I'm just doing it, you know what I mean? But that was one of the great things about Jeff Buckley. He actually covered a few Nina Simone songs. I'm not sure if you know who Nina Simone is, but it was almost like, he had that same capability of just evoking and diving in on just a quivery vibrato that technically maybe wasn't perfect, but it conveyed emotion, and that's the most purest form, I think, of music, creativity, and artistry that you can give, because it takes bravery to be vulnerable, and it takes bravery to be open to making a mistake, And I more appreciate the singers that kind of go in and just. Every move and every this, every that isn't so over rehearsed, because it's about just being raw and just being in your gut of emotion, rather than like thinking about this and that and hitting every, you know what I mean? Like it's less about a choreography to me and more about just like digging in your gut and just feeling that. Yeah. But people like us, in the fact that we like to live in the moment, rehearsals and technicalities don't mean so much. So when you're in the studio and you're making a record and you're cutting a song, you have less freedom. You have to be more in control, and you have to really take a minute and hone in on perfecting what it is you're trying to convey. If you're trying to convey an emotion, then you might go for the take of it that you did that's got the quiver, and it's not a perfect held out note, but it's got that certain emotion that feels like, oh, that made me feel something in my heart. You know what I mean? Maybe it's that. I have to make choices too, if I want to be critically correct or if I want to be emotionally correct.